The Jesuit Hour. Get to know the Jesuits. Discover their spirituality, their history, their ministries. The Jesuit Hour. Anything Jesuit, everything Jesuit. The Jesuit Hour.
This is Radio Katipunan 87.9 FM, the voice of the Blue Eagle.
It's time for The Music Class. Join us for an evening of learning music and appreciating the art behind every hum, tune, and beat. Listen to engaging performances and insights from some of the top and upcoming musicians in the scene today. Tune in every Tuesday evening here on The Music Class. Let the music class begin.
Baka naman pwede.
Baka naman pwede.
Baka naman pwede.
Mga isyung napapanahon, ating pag-usapan.
Baka naman pwede.
Gamit ang mga pananaw mula sa iba't ibang kalinangan.
Baka naman pwede.
Mula sa Institute of Philippine Culture, kami inyong samahan, tayo'y maghuntahan. Dito lang sa
Baka naman pwede.
Tuwing Huwebes, alas 3 ng hapon, dito lang sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. Sa The Blue Eagle kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay at tenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng kwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero, sugod, todo sa kayon, tunong at tulong, lipat na Blue Eagle, kaning giting nagigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan. Welcome to RK Sports, where we take you right into the action with the highlights, insights, and analysis of the sports scene in, around, across, and beyond the Ateneo. With your hosts, Anthony Perez and Mookie Borja. Katipunan. Game Game on.
Hello, hello. What is up, Blue Eagle Nation? This is Anthony bringing you another exciting edition of Radyo Katipunan Sports. We are live via RK on Facebook, on YouTube, and 87.9 on your FM stations. And joining me, of course, is the young fella, Mookie B. Mookie, we are back again after a week break. I hope our listeners didn't miss us too much. Diba? So, Mook, this is our first episode of a brand new month, February. And boy, we are loaded.
Yeah, we missed a lot of things when we didn't have the show last week. We had so many news and honestly performances in the NBA and also like just basketball in general and sports in general.
Right. So this is another afternoon of non-stop hoop talk. But if time permits, we might just give our picks for Super Bowl 58.
Quick picks for next Monday.
Happening this Sunday. So, okay, Monday our time. Yes,
right.
yes. All right. So, let's get right into it, Mook. So, first up, we got local basketball news and news that concerns us.
Yeah.
In the when it comes to the UAAP, because our captain Sean Kitevis has confirmed that he will return to the Blue Eagles fold for one more year, stating that he has, quote-unquote, Mook, unfinished business.
Yeah, he was the team captain last year, together with Chris Kuhn, who is also returning for his final season. Good for both of them. I think they really do have unfinished business. You know, last year wasn't the most successful. It was actually the least successful of these past few years for the Blue Eagles. But it's a good sign for him. You know, maybe he can impart some knowledge on the incoming guards this year. Teach them some of that grit. He's very scrappy defender and really hardworking. You can see it when he plays. So happy to have him back, I guess. And let's see what we still have to make a lot of moves, but it's a good thing the UAP season won't start for a few more months.
Yes. And for me, at least Sean Kitevis being there in practices, he can rub off some of that leadership over to Jared Bahay, diba, who's waiting in the wings. But it helps if you have a vet who will take you under his wing, who will show you the ropes, how it's done over here in Ateneo.
And assuming that Jared Bahay will start for Coach Tab next season, Sean Kitevis is going to be right there beside him in the backcourt. He's going to be their stabilizer most of the time. He's going to be their anchor on defense, calling out matchup. So it's good that he's there. Like Jared Bahay has been an MVP in Cebu, has been an MVP during his Phil Oil stints and NBTC leagues, but the UAAP collegiate game is very different. You have to learn the pace and style of play. Most especially, you have to learn how to defend, especially in the guard position.
Sure.
J House is gonna have a lot of help with Sean Kitevis being back.
So Jared Bahay can take care of the scoring. Meanwhile, Sean Kitevis takes care of. He's the on my count. He is Ateneo's official leader in floor burns per game.
Yeah, definitely. Just diving for the ball all the time. He's a very scrappy. And you know what? I'll say this. He's been a steady veteran presence whenever he's on the court. Like he can come. We saw instances last season of him, controlling the tempo, just making sure to burn the clock. Like Coach Tab wants his offense to be most of the time, and when it's time to push, he can push the tempo and pressure on the defensive end as well.
Right. And of course, again, with our returning captain, Coach Tab doesn't lose that corporate knowledge, diba? that much corporate knowledge as compared to last season where around 4 or 5 vets just left the building. So at least now he has Kitevis to rely on. He has Chris Kuhn to lean on.
Right.
So that's a huge plus for us. However, our rivals from Taft Avenue have also upgraded their roster because joining the newly added Jacob Cortez to their guard core is NU's Kian Baclaan, who now joins his friend KQ in DLSU.
Right. So I think this has been open secret for a while now that Kian Baclan was gonna join DLSU. I think it was first reported back in December, shortly after Jacob Cortez also rumored of going to DLSU. So it's no surprise. Pretty bummer news for Coach Jeff Napa and DNU. They lost NU Bulldogs. They lost their point guard. They still have Steve Nash Enriquez and Reynard Humamoy, who won them a game against us last season. So they're fine, but Kian Baclan was close to Rookie of the Year candidate if it weren't for Kevin Kembao. So he's very promising, and you replace Evan Nele with Jacob Cortez, who's won an NCAA championship, and Kian Baclan, who's one of the best young guards in the UAAP right now. They definitely got support right away. They didn't have to wait long to find a replacement for Evan Nele. So Coach Topex is very happy. I'm assuming he's a very happy man. The next few years, he's gonna be pretty sorted in the point guard rotation. Not that they needed another point guard because Kevin Kembao, as we all know, plays like one.
Yeah.
So, but it'll be an experiment. I'm excited to see Coach Topex experiment with these lineups if they go more small ball, or it also depends, if Mike Phillips and everyone else is healthy in the front court. So, yeah, sad news for NU, but I'm very excited to see, how DLSU will shape up as a whole when these two really, really good young guards arrive in Taft.
So their guard rotation is set, but for Coach Topex, he just might perhaps lose Kevin Kembao to bigger and greater things because, I mean, if the rumors are true, Mookie, when this news dropped, I was like, is this for real? I mean, there is absolutely no way, really, guys from which organization we're talking about, the Orange and Blue, are actually inquiring about Kevin Kembao. But hey, I mean, word got around that because of Kevin Kembao's very impressive performance at the
spectacular
Dubai International Basketball Championships, where he played alongside Dwight Howard, Andre Blatch, Andre Robertson. He was the leading scorer in some of those games. So he did turn some heads, and I guess the word got out that, hey, the New York Knicks might just invite him to their Summer League roster. Now, okay, first of all, there are steps to this. Baka, pag narinig na, NBA na, no. Yeah. I mean, it's a very arduous and long process. Yeah. But, just to make an impression, right? To pique interest of an NBA club.
Right.
That means you're one heck of a ball player doing something right.
And the Knicks aren't a scrub either. They're looking for people who can contribute to that team that they have right now, who has won 10 out of their last 11. They were recently on a 9-game winning streak. So, big picture, it's such a loud news now. Wow, he's getting scouted by an NBA team. But like what you said, it's a really long process. These are just scouts. They might not even be official scouts of the Knicks, but they might be affiliated, with their G League team or whatever. So, it's a long way to go. But you're right. It's pretty big news when, a college player like Kevin Kembao,
exactly,
fresh off. But, he deserved it. He was really awesome during that run. I would even say that he led Strong Group to the title game. He played just really solid overall. He felt Charles Drew did a good job surrounding him with, getting him the ball all the time and make him make the right decisions, because most of the time he does. So, he deserves it. He deserves the offers. If there are offers, I'm sure there were a lot of offers in Dubai for him, for his talents. But I just want to see him maybe one more year in the UAAP, if it were up to me, because I want to see him reach his full potential, as a collegiate player, because they won. So I think he has to, it's his duty rather to protect the title.
Right. But let me tell you this, no, Mok. I don't think Kevin Kembao would have gotten that attention, or at least piqued the interest of those scouts, right? if he weren't playing alongside ex-NBA players
That's
like
true.
Dwight Howard, Andre Blatch, those guys, Andre Robertson. I mean, because when Dwight committed to play for a strong group, even guys like Shams Charania were zeroing in on him. Like, okay, Dwight Howard is preparing for an NBA comeback by joining this league, this tournament. So, the attention on Dwight Howard kind of spilled over to the other guys on the roster, aka Kevin Kembao.
Kevin Kembao. So, the veteran presence, they had like three former NBA players is a lot already. So, just the knowledge off of those three players will get you not just attention, but also, lessons that you'll take to wherever you play. Some of these guys, they play in different countries as well. Mike Agulangan was also part of that team, so he's going to take that in his final year in UP. So, it's all a matter of experiences. But I'm really happy for, strong group they didn't win, sadly, but they did a hell of a job with that team, just set together in a few weeks, but then they made the finals against, a hostile environment. They were in Dubai against all of the other Middle Eastern countries and their teams. So, they did a really good job there.
Right. So, okay. Assuming, the rumors are true and things work out well for KQ, Mookie, do you think that if he does land on the Knicks Summer League team, right? He's there, he's part of the free agents and rookies trying out for the team. Do you think that he has a better chance of putting up a good Summer League performance than Kai Soto did?
Well, I think so. I will think so. Because I think Kai's performance during his Summer League stint wasn't really the best. It could have been better. Most of it was because of the playing time. He didn't really get to play a lot of times. And I think but I think with Kevin Kembao, for him to earn the minutes he'll play in the Summer League, he has to show everyone what he can do.
Yeah.
Not just offensively, but he's a very capable defender as well.
Yeah.
One-on-one, he's pretty tall. He's pretty mobile as well. We could have really used him in these past Gilas windows, in the World Cup and the Asian Games. But in terms of mobility, he's perfect for the way Europeans also kind of play now. He likes to have the ball but also distribute to other people. So I think he'll do a better job than Kai, but it also matters on the playing time.
Sure. But of course, landing on a Summer League roster is one thing, and then proving yourself in Summer League is another. And then from there, you possibly get invited to training camp. If you do well in training camp, then you may crack a preseason roster. If preseason two-way deal is in the mix, or perhaps you get assigned to the G League. So who knows? But still, it's so it's really bright news for KQ.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy for him. Also, I'm also excited for opportunities like this for more young players to join these leagues and then just get their names out there for scouts, for not just NBA but also European clubs and even like Japanese clubs as well.
Right. All right. So you mentioned about KQ. We could have used him in the FIBA windows.
Yeah.
So let's shift things over now to our Gilas Pilipinas, who this is perhaps again this is such excellent news for our national team because we basically build on the success of the past Asian Games with the SBP finally installing Coach Tim Cone as the permanent head coach of Gilas Pilipinas. And number one, Mook, for me, it's the most logical choice, right? After your emphatic Asian Games gold medal win, you have to give continuity to the program.
You have to see where Coach Tim Cone is heading with this, with these group of players, because we're gonna get into the team that is for this month's window, but it's very similar to the Asian Games lineup as well.
It's a mix of the World Cup and Asian
Right.
Games.
So, and he honestly deserves it. Coach Tim Cone was pretty solid that whole run. You know, it was improbable. The Asian Games, we were down a lot of those games. It was very hard, but you know, he coached the heck out of that team, and we ended up winning the whole thing. So he really he deserved one more shot at least. Permanent, you know, we're not really sure if if he'll be the next, like, the coming years, but for this foreseeable future, I'm definitely fine with him running the team for Gilas.
Right. I mean, Gilas in just from the 2010s to the early 2020s. So 2014, we made it back to the World Cup. Coach Chot Reyes was there. After a disappointing Asian Games, Chot Reyes was fired. In comes Coach Tab, who does a very admirable job by overhauling the system, everything. But then, you know, he rubbed some feathers the wrong way. So in comes Coach Yang for the 2019 World Cup. We end up dead last.
Disastrous,
in the 2019 World Cup. So in comes back Coach Chot, where our 2023 World Cup was not pleasing, to say the least.
Very
Right?
underwhelming.
So, I mean, with the constant revolving door of coaches, right? To just have at least Coach Tim from last year to this year to I don't know till when, right? Success is a huge factor for this, but at least again we have some semblance of stability, of continuity for the team.
Right. And I think these windows are for a possible spot in the Olympics, right? The Paris Olympics.
Olympic qualifying tournament.
Hopefully we make it that far. You know, we're up against whoever we're up against these next few windows, we can make it with, you know, I think we can get to the team now. I think this is a pretty formidable team. In the short amount of time that they were able to collect these names, I think this is a pretty capable roster. You know, you have Kai. For your big men, you have Kai Soto, Junmar Fajardo, who's playing excellently, by the way, in the PBA finals right now. Carl Tamayo, who I really wanted to be in the World Cup
same
roster. And the returning Justin Brownlee.
Yes. So how can we miss out that name? I mean, but you know, for a while I was worried, Mookie, about his him being reinstated.
Right.
You know, after the suspension because of you know, the negative doping, the positive doping results. But you know, that could have been from his medication while recovering from surgery,
Lots
from
of
bone
gray
spurs.
areas in that.
Exactly. But for me, what Justin Brownlee did to voluntarily just sit out this PBA Commissioner's Cup, right? He could have played for Ginebra, but at least he served that time off, diba? From the national team, from actual competition, which, you know, after that expired, he became eligible again to suit up for Gilas. So, I mean, huge sacrifice from Justin Brownlee. And yun nga, you know, even Coach Tim said that with him in the lineup, he's just the presence of Justin Brownlee there is setting a standard for that Gilas program. I mean, that will, you know, that's so impactful and something that again the team can build up on.
Right. He's honestly also a really good leader. We saw it in the Asian Games, you know, how he just rallied Gilas through, I think, the last 3 games that they had, you know, just pushing them to the finish line most of those times. And this team is also a mix of young talent as well. Like we mentioned, Carl Tamayo, AJ Edu's here.
Yeah.
Dwight has been called up once again. I think he's going to be a mainstay. Even doesn't matter who the coach is. I think
he's a lock.
Yeah, there are untouchables in the Gilas lineup, and I think Dwight's one of them. So I think, we have a really good. I'm very happy with this lineup. You know, I think JB is gonna dominate again. It's been so long since he played competitive basketball, at least that we know of.
Yeah.
And I think he's also gonna have a chip on his shoulder because you're right. He missed some games. He was fined and he was banned for a bit for the doping incident controversy. But then, you know, he saw his team Ginebra lose without him. So that's gonna drive him even more to play really well for Gilas. And of course, for Tim Cone, who,
Yeah.
you know, I think he kind of thinks, at least. Any athlete would feel bad a little bit about your coach because
Right.
you're not playing, Ben, it's also kind of your fault. So, you know, he's going to give everything for Coach Tim during this February window.
And he knows what Coach Tim demands of
Right.
him, right?
Yeah.
That's the most important
Yeah.
thing. I mean, like, if it's Coach Tim with a totally new
System.
naturalized
Oh, yeah.
naturalized player, right? Because there are some names being put out there, but that's gonna take a whole lot of adjustment again. But again, with Coach Tim and Justin Brownlee, they've developed a chemistry with Barangay Ginebra for the past 7 years already. So, I mean, he knows the system that Coach Tim wants to run.
So I think we'll be really fine. Like, I can't wait to watch this team, this Gilas team, because this is one of looking at it right now. This is one of like my favorite Gilas teams we've had in a while. Like, I can see a lot of potential with this team.
Right.
I would like to give a shout out actually also to in the strong group. One former Gilas player who did really well also was Jordan Heading.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think we sorely missed in
Knocked down by.
in last year's World Cup and Asian Games, because I think Jordan Heading's a really good shooter and basketball player, of course. So
We needed that.
we needed that.
Right.
Yeah.
Although in terms of needs, Mok, I'm taking a look at the names listed down by Coach Tim for at least the two windows, right? The two windows. Our primary ball handlers are CJ Perez and Scotty Thompson, who naturally aren't your lead ball handlers.
Right.
But they're converted lead ball handlers in this roster. Would you have wanted to see more natural playmakers like, let's say, Kiefer Ravena,
Right.
RJ Abarientos, those types
SJ
of
Belanghel.
SJ?
Yeah, I think it's always fair to ask that, because I'm one of those guys who also think that a team should always have a pure point guard. Shout out, hello to San Antonio's for finally have Trey Jones back in the starting lineup. But you know, Dwight Ramos also plays a lot of point guard for Gilas when he's playing. So I think he'll be that. We mentioned Kevin Kemba a while ago, who has the guard skills to, pass the ball around. And for as much as Scotty Thompson hasn't been showing out for Gilas recently, he's been a very steady ball handler for not just Ginebra, but previously, before the 2023 Gilas teams he was on, he's been a very capable and very fine ball handler for Gilas. So I'm not looking for a Kiefer type or an SJ type on this team. I don't think it's needed.
Okay.
Because I think they went more for size overall.
No, there's a lot of size. There's a lot of size on this.
Size here. So I'm good with that, as long as they have a direction, not necessarily, point guard and style of play or, sets. It's more of length and shooting. A lot of these players can shoot the ball from outside, and I think athleticism also plays a huge role, because you have your wings like Jamie and Calvin Oftana, who are pretty tall, can knock it down, can drive, can slash. I think, like I said, really well-rounded lineup for these two windows.
But you said it. I mean, the strength of this roster for me, it has to be the wings. We are loaded right there. So, I mean, you have interchangeable wings from SF to PF.
Right.
So Justin Brownlee's one.
Yeah.
Carl Tamayo. Carl Tamayo's there.
Can play.
KQ.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have Dwight. Not to mention Chris Newsom. Chris Newsom was a lockdown defender in the Asian Games.
Right, he was. When he was put in, he would not. During the China game, he was playing really good defense.
Then he shut down Ronde Hollis Jefferson for a good stretch. So, I mean, I think the strength of this will be, the collection of wings that Coach Tim has.
I believe in Coach Tim. Like, he knows most of these players, and I definitely think even the young players who hasn't been around Coach Tim a lot will definitely respect him enough to listen to him. So I think this is gonna be a really fun lineup to watch and very promising. This is really one of I would grade this a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Like this lineup is really good. So let's see. I think the first game is later this February.
So Mook on Feb 22 we go up
22.
against Hong Kong, and then quick turnaround because just 2 days later in Ultra,
Yeah.
we go up against Chinese Taipei. So that's 2 games in span of 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. And
So-
we'll cover that when we get there. But
Yeah.
I have a feeling these are going to be really, really, really successful
Right.
games for Gilas.
So guys, stay tuned for Mookie and I will be previewing and recapping the Gilas in the at least in the February windows for the Olympic qualifying tournament. But hold on just a bit because in a few minutes it's time for the latest trades, rumors, all-star reactions, all NBA stuff when we return in just a moment.
Hey, Katipuneros, don't change that dial because we'll be coming right back. Are you feeling sore? We can make that better. Tune in to the Ateneo Senior High School's first radio program, Soar, the Seniors On Air Radio. Don't change that channel yet because Soar is ready to put the you in you. Soar, Seniors On Air, here on Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM. Meron? Ano nga ba ang meron? Paano nga bang mabuhay ng tapat sa meron? Don't you wish you can relive your philo classes? The terror teachers? The terrible oral exams? Or the even terrifying but liberating and life-changing aha moments? Lundagin mo, baby! Here's your chance! Lundagin mo, baby! Kasama ang mga pilosopong sina Jovi Miroy at Ron Capinding. Lundagin mo, baby! Leaping upward, leaping forward. Lundagin mo, baby! Leaping to greater heights, to greater wisdom, to greater magis. Lundag na, Ateneo!
Okay, we are back here on Radyo Katipunan Sports. We just covered local Philippine hoop news and now it's time for some NBA stuff where okay, guys, remember the 2024 NBA trade deadline is for February 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's tomorrow. Today, Mook, wasn't really an impactful day in terms of trades, but nevertheless, we'll go through some of the recent transactions that happened over the past few days. Let's begin with the Memphis Grizzlies, who have traded away Steven Adams, who hasn't played in more than a year already, to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Victor Oladipo, another injury-plagued former star, and 3 second-round picks. And the Grizzlies will receive 2 2024 second-round picks and 1 in 2025. My quick takeaway from this, Mook, is this is Memphis officially putting a stamp that ends their injury-riddled 2024 season.
Yeah, they threw in the towel. I think they threw in the towel weeks ago when they also chose to pull out Desmond Bane to get surgery as well. Marcus Smart is also out with an injury.
The finger.
Yeah. Triple J is the only one playing. I think he's been relatively healthy this season.
Although he has a banged-up hip.
Yeah. But then he still plays sometimes. But yeah, I think Memphis is completely shut down for the season. He's not... they're not going to try. They're only going to try to get a high lottery pick this offseason. And yeah, they get Victor Oladipo back, who is a veteran. They have Derrick Rose already on that roster. So they're... In terms of, the character issue that they had a few years ago, if they were like serious about basketball or if they were just all talk, I think that's going to be settled this season and the off season where everyone's trying to get back. So I think that's settled, but it's a huge loss that they don't have Steven Adams. But hopefully they get, Brandon Clark back. And sadly, they'll be missing one big man that they have because he was also traded a while ago.
Right, and that's Xavier Tillman, who was also traded to the Boston Celtics, who added, front court depth for their team. So the Celtics acquired Xavier Tillman from Memphis for a 2027 second-round pick and a 2030 second-round pick. Memphis also receives Lamar Stevens from the Celtics in the deal. But let's try to focus first, Mook, on Memphis. No, I mean, when you're 5 games back of the final play-in tournament spot, you shouldn't be even trying to get there anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And, for Memphis, what they can look forward to is an off-season where they did recoup some value for the trades that they...
A lot of second-round picks.
Right, a lot of second-round picks. So at least you have something to work with.
Yeah.
Right? Because once Ja Morant was out with the season-ending shoulder injury, that sort of just ended everything for their season.
On top of him missing 25 games to start the season.
Yeah.
So, but the Memphis Grizzlies are really good at drafting. I'll give them that. So those second-round picks that they acquired for this upcoming draft, I'll keep an eye on. They have a really good scouting system over there. They got Zaire Williams recently. They got Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks, who you can say what you want about Dylan Brooks, but he's a really solid NBA player.
Yeah.
So he's really they have the talent to see potential in players. So I'll keep an eye out for those. But I'm more interested with the Xavier Tillman deal, at least, on how I think Boston just locked up the Eastern Conference. Like, I think they're number one. They're gonna get home court advantage throughout.
Well, they have the best roster in the East.
Right. Adding Xavier Tillman, a big body, like you said earlier, before we started, an insurance for Porzingis, and almost like a protege for Al Horford.
Yeah.
Because I think they play the same way. Xavier Tillman can shoot the ball from outside, maybe not as well as Al Horford can, but just a bruiser who gets rebounds, plays hard. I think they're like a young Al Horford.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at
in a way.
yeah.
In a way.
So they just rounded out their maybe top 8 guys, for the playoffs. So I can't say anything about Boston. They really just, that's the cherry on top of whatever lineup they already have. I think Coach Joe Mazzulla should incorporate him more. Maybe rest Porzingis a few times more during the second half of the season after the All-Star break, because you do have Xavier Tillman there with you now. So really good pickup for Boston, just to strengthen more their grip on the Eastern Conference.
Especially, you're already the number 1 rebounding team in the league, and you add a Xavier Tillman to the mix along with Al Horford. You got pretty solid, wide-bodied guys in your front court already.
Yeah, as well as a very, very, very elite defensive team. That backcourt that they have is already really good.
Yeah.
But then you add like a big body. I think Xavier Tillman's 6'7", 280 pounds. That's very big. So that's a very big body. So you won't have trouble finding size on Boston either. So hopefully that can prepare them for Philly. That can prepare them for the Bucks.
The Bucks, yeah.
And their kryptonite Miami. Hopefully they can finally crack Miami this season. So yeah, let's see. But Boston will be the number 1. It's a matter of who is going to join them there.
Yep.
From 2 to 4, I think it's going to be really, really interesting for the next few months in the Eastern Conference.
All right. So you can actually say the same thing, no, for Steven Adams to Houston. I mean, he provides that interior defense,
Once he's healthy.
the toughness, offensive rebounding to pair with Alperen Şengün.
Houston's also a very young team as well. So once he gets healthy, I think it'll be a positive impact. We, over the years, Houston, post James Harden, has been, known for these young players who are in the culture of losing.
Yeah.
I think Steven Adams will help that a lot, just trying to pick up the leadership role. Together with Ime Udoka, of course, who is, we've seen him lead teams to a better place. So Steven Adams is also a really good pickup for Houston, and good turnaround for Victor Oladipo, who wasn't really going to play anyway for Houston. You're just really an asset for them. So really good return.
But Victor Oladipo, I think, becomes an unrestricted free agent in the summer. So who knows? He might pack up and leave, and
Yeah.
I hate to say it, I'll call it a career. He was a flash in the pan sort of star.
Yeah. I mean, he was riddled with injuries as well, so pretty tragic the way his career turned out. But he was very promising. He had a few years in Indiana where he was like lights out.
Yeah.
Really, 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 really good.
Yep.
So let's see if he can make a resurgence. We've seen late career, resurgence like Kyle Lowry. DeMar DeRozan is still playing really well, so hopefully he can get back on that track.
All right. So we hope to see more deals, Mook, at least by tomorrow.
I think we will see the trade deadline. Manila time is 3 a.m. later. I'm pretty sure a lot of these deals are gonna get done in the middle of the night for us.
my Twitter page is
Woj bombs and Shams.
I'm gonna be wired to my Twitter again.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay. From trades, we now go to the upcoming mid-season showcase happening on February 18. The 73rd edition of the NBA All-Star Game will be in the Gainsbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. So, Mook, starters and reserves have been announced. We'll take a closer look at some of the names in the selections, some who weren't selected, and all in the context of what this means for their clubs moving forward as the season progresses. But first, we are back to the classic East versus West showdown. We had the captains and the pickup game sort of version over the recent years, but it kind of lost its appeal.
Yeah. Got
So-
old pretty quickly.
I mean, East versus West. You in favor of that?
I am in favor of East versus West because I think now the league has more parity. So I think the All Stars aren't all in one conference. I think there was a time before where all of the KD, LeBron were both on in the Western Conference because I think that was 1 year when KD was still in Golden State and LeBron was in the first year of the Lakers. So I think the NBA had the dilemma there. I think that's why they wanted to go to
East West.
No, the team captain.
Oh yeah, the team captain.
Because I think it would be a little bit too hot, too top heavy. But now there are talents on each side. It's a shame Embiid got injured because it would have been like Embiid versus Jokic, right? And then Giannis versus KD because they're on different conferences now. So it would have been really fun. But I'm always in favor for East versus West.
Okay.
They also have a really good jersey this year, just classic blue and red.
Okay.
So I'm happy with that. Together with the pinstripes of Indiana, the Pacers pinstripes. So I think it's pretty classy and they kept it simple this year with the jerseys. So I'm happy with that.
All right. But okay, let's talk about some of the surprises for this NBA All-Star 2024. My biggest surprise isn't actually with the player, but it's actually with the coach. The rule is officially win and you're in.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just after they beat the Dallas Mavericks, for Doc Rivers' first win coaching the Bucks, he immediately gets named as the East team's
Coach.
coach for the All-Star game. And I'm like, what in the world is this? But Mok, I dug up some research, and it's not the first time this has happened because in 2016, Cleveland fired David Blatt, who they were 30-11 midway through the season, but then Ty Lue was given the reins, and he was named coach of the All-Star game. But for Doc Rivers to, be the East team's All-Star coach, I mean...
He wasn't really happy about it. He wasn't even happy about the fact. Like, he felt really guilty. He was like, I'm going to give the ring and the bonus to Adrian Griffin and his staff. Because, honestly, that's the right thing to do. You've won one game in the 5 games you've been coaching the Bucks so far. So, I wouldn't say you are the team that led them to this really, really, really good record. But, it's a very awkward position Doc Rivers has put in. Like, let alone, not even just coaching the All-Star game, but just coaching the Bucks, having a really good record and firing their coaches was really strange in itself. So he's still trying to get used to that whole situation he's in, but you're right, it's pretty weird. But then Ty Lue did a really good job with that Cleveland Cavaliers team.
Yep.
made all the way and won the whole thing. So let's see if Doc Rivers has what it takes. He was caught by surprise when he was hired. He was caught by surprise when he was named coach of the year, coach of the All-Star game. So let's see. It's also a shame because there's also a rule that a coach can't coach 2 straight All-Star games. So that's why Joe Mazzulla, despite having the best record in the East, can't coach because he was already the coach last year.
Right.
So now it was supposed to be Adrian Griffin, but sadly,
Well, Doc Rivers, the guy who never fails to get a pass. it's still the magic of the 08 championship that does it for him.
That's still what's on everyone's minds. A lot of the GMs, but yeah. Just quickly, my surprise is just Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay.
I think that should be Rudy Gobert's spot if it was gonna go to another T-Wolves player. I think Rudy Gobert's resurgence this year has been amazing. He's a front runner once again for Defensive Player of the Year, which honestly Rudy Gobert gets a lot of flack for his style of play. Doesn't really do anything but defend.
Right.
Can't really shoot. Doesn't want to, but he's proved his doubters wrong this season, playing really well for Anthony Edwards rather than with, because I think he benefits. Anthony Edwards benefits from Rudy Gobert a lot more this season because he gets to anchor that paint. Still a really top defense the Timberwolves have. So I would much rather have Gobert over Towns for this All-Star game.
Unfortunately, most people don't want to see shots blocked in the All-Star game. They want Cat bombing away for 60.
Yeah.
So it's the 60-point game that got him in. I mean, much respect to Rudy Gobert, but
well,
the All-Star game's not about defense.
And when it was still the team captains formats, Rudy Gobert was always one of the last people to get picked. So I think that was the main reason why he wasn't picked this year.
Although, just going over quickly, Mook, the starters. So for the East, we have Giannis, Joel Embiid, who was, replaced by Scotty Barnes, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, who his coming out party just continues, and of course Damian Lillard rounding out the 5 for them. But I just want to key in on the biggest absence there, which is going to be Joel Embiid, right? So he will finally undergo a procedure for a torn meniscus. If the meniscus is repaired, the normal recovery time for that is usually 4 to 6 months.
Right.
If the meniscus is removed totally, you can return quickly, but later on complications might ensue, aka Derrick Rose. So, this is in connection to our discussion in our previous episode, but for the Sixers and Daryl Morey, if there's a chance for Joel Embiid to still return for the playoffs, right? Philadelphia should think about making a move right now.
Right now, I think that still should be the move. Like, I think they still should be on the lookout for a Malcolm Brogdon, for a Bruce Brown, because, all right, we didn't get a chance to talk about this last week's show, but Joel Embiid had this weird string of games where he didn't play against Denver in Denver, but then he played because he was late scratched out, but then he played a few days later for against Golden State.
Yeah.
And then that's where his injury occurred. So that was big news because, if he was really injured, why did he play then? Why did he play against Golden State if he was really injured and aggravated his injury more? So now that he needs surgery. So I think, you can't really do anything about that now. He's already injured. He got a procedure done. So I think his timetable was, you're right, like 2 to 3 months. The ramp up would be before the playoffs. Sad because he was number 1 in MVP rankings again. So
That's gone now.
He can he'll miss the games, the game limit, and of course he'll be out for half the season. So that's gone. But if you're the Sixers, I would still make a run because I think even if Joel Embiid gets back, I'm pretty sure he'll be at the level where he can still dominate.
Right.
Because he's that good. He's shown how good he has been this season. Like, number one in MVP, number one in scoring. He got his 70 points. I think he'll dominate. It also just depends. That's why I think the 76ers have to make a move because they have to maintain that, home court advantage. If not, just in the middle, they can't really fall out. It's too late to fall out of the playoff picture now. So, you still have an all-star in Tyrese Maxey. So I think you should get a Malcolm Brogdon. I think that's their best move. Malcolm Brogdon or Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
I've said it these past few weeks. I think Bruce Brown will be a bellwether for any contender. So, yeah. Dan Morey, the next 12 hours, it's really up to him. He has to make a move.
Right. And speaking about making moves, no, Mok. So, again, replacements. Scotty Barnes, glad for him. First All-Star appearance. And Trae Young. Incidentally, I mean, for this guy, it kind of seemed that he was banned from the All-Star game or something. For all the stellar numbers that Trae Young puts up, he's still an unpopular guy among media,
Coaching,
among coaches, among fellow players as well.
He doesn't get the love enough. But, it also shows because Atlanta is not really having the best season. They're also a really hot trade team right now with DeJounte Murray. And honestly, even Trae Young also there are a lot of rumors about Trae Young. So it's good that he's in because I think he is deserving. He's one of the most exciting players to watch in the league. He should be part of All-Star weekend, whether it be in the All-Star game itself or, in the 3-point contest. So it's good that he's in. I wouldn't say he's deserving, but in the East, it's not really, there aren't really a lot of snubs. I think there are more snubs in the West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although just to end our Trae Young segment, no Mok, I'm just taking a look at DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, who has the better trade value right now. And I think for the Hawks, you might want to explore trades for Trae Young now, other than DeJounte Murray.
Yes, I agree.
Because DeJounte Murray, for the times that Trae Young is not on the floor with him, his per 36 numbers are excellent. They just shoot up.
Yeah.
So, Trae Young has more trade value right now. You might want to consider sending him off to an Orlando Magic, who needs a playmaker, to pair with Paolo Banchero. San Antonio is one other destination. But for DJ, look,
It's hard.
You had talks with Utah, you had talks with LA, but nothing's really set in stone.
The Lakers thing has been a rumor for a month now, so I think the fact that it hasn't gone anywhere yet means it's very murky right now. Like that should have been if it would have happened, it would have happened already.
Right.
At this point because DeJounte Murray can move the needle for that Lakers team, but they're having second thoughts and everything, so it hasn't happened. So I think you're right. Trae Young now, definitely, you don't really get to rebuild. I wouldn't say you get to rebuild because you still have a lot of players in Atlanta. So you get rid of your franchise player, but then you also get picks back. You also get, if you go to the Spurs, I'm pretty sure you'll get Keldon Johnson, who is a really good player, really good return for Trae Young. So, let's see what Atlanta does again. Like the Philly, let's see what they do these next few hours. So I'm very excited. This is gonna be like either a really boring trade deadline where nothing happens a lot and then people will just get waived and then sign. We've seen that happen before, or we'll
Very
get
eventful.
a KD trade like last year. That broke Twitter for a few days. So yeah, I'm very excited. It's gonna be a really, really eventful next couple of hours for the NBA.
You know what? A potential Trae Young move reminds me of? It reminds me of how Sacramento traded Tyrese Halliburton rather than the Aaron Fox in 2022.
Right.
Because the market was, it wasn't too
Either
hot.
or. It was either or at that point. It was either the Aaron. We could keep Halliburton or we could keep the Aaron Fox. We could.
And it worked out for the
It
best.
worked out for both of them. They both made well. I think Indiana's gonna make the playoffs this year, so it's gonna work out for both teams.
Right.
Yeah.
So rounding out the Eastern Conference, Bam Adebayo, Paolo Banchero finally gets into an All-Star game. Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, who arguably deserves the starter spot.
Over Damian Lillard.
I see we agree on that.
Jalen Brunson is one of the best point guards in the NBA right now.
Yes, he is.
On fire.
Yes, he
These
is.
past few weeks.
And the other guard spot belongs to Tyrese Maxey of Philadelphia. Well deserved. So, I mean, other than...
You forgot one more, who I think is one of the most deserving All-Stars this year, Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
Donovan Mitchell on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have won 14 out of their last 15 games.
Impressive.
They have came out of nowhere. So props to Cleveland, finally getting healthy again. They got Darius Garland back recently. They got Evan Mobley back recently. With, that team who found themselves without 2 of their 4, starters. It's very impressive. So I can't wait for them to be in full force. Hopefully that cohesion remains with those 2, former All-Stars, we can call them. So hopefully they continue what they're doing over there in Cleveland, because I think right now they're number 2 in the East. So that's such a glow up from their start of the season, which wasn't that good. So props to Donovan Mitchell, who's playing really well right now for Cleveland.
And what impresses me about Donovan Mitchell is he's a consummate pro. Like, you remember when he openly said that, oh, you have a preferred destination, that would be New York. But he ends up in Cleveland, and I mean, no complaints from the guy.
No complaints.
He still
He was an
balls
All-Star
out.
last year.
Yeah.
He pushed that team to their first non-LeBron playoff run. So
True.
Cleveland's a very promising team. I think I had them really high coming into this season, with their addition of Max Strus and everything. But then, their start of the season wasn't ideal. But now they have it back. Didn't really have to change anything. They were one of the teams that I thought was gonna make a move, maybe move on from Jarrett Allen with how the things were. But now Jarrett Allen is untouchable again for them. So let's see what they do. But shout out to Cleveland. They've been doing a really good job, and I can't wait. I can't wait for the second half of the season. After all of the trades, hopefully after all of the trades that happen tonight.
All right. So we're done with the East smoke. Let's shift things over now westward, where the Western Conference starters are, of course, KD, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, no-brainer, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and one LeBron James, who Mookie is gonna love this part because I want to focus in on LeBron here.
Okay.
Record 20th All-Star selection, cementing his place as the greatest of his generation. But Mookie, hear me out. This might be, and I have a strong feeling, LeBron's last All-Star appearance as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. Hear me out. Between the hourglass emoji and Rich Paul saying na he doesn't want to get traded right now. This is LeBron subtly sort of pushing the front office to make some moves. And you know him, when
He's been wanting a move this whole season.
when he wants something done, LeBron sends signals. But now, Mookie, when the Lakers are tied for 9th in the West, and the Lakers are looking like they're providing LeBron a sad farewell tour rather than the last dance. And, with LeBron wanting to perhaps end out his career on a contending note, maybe, just maybe, making a move now would still allow LeBron to take advantage of his final years, and for your favorite team, for the Lakers to still recoup some value and perhaps, I don't know, lay the groundwork to pursue Luka Doncic later this decade. So if a breakup is inevitable, I have a feeling that before he leaves for free agency, maybe an amicable split has to happen.
I definitely want compensation if ever LeBron leaves. Like, I don't want him to leave in free agency for nothing. I want to get something back. You're right. But, as a Laker fan, I'm not really a LeBron fan enough. Like, I'm a LeBron fan now because he's a Laker. I'm in that side of Laker fandom. So, it's fine if he leaves, but I just want players and picks for him, if ever the Lakers and him decide to move on from one another. But realistically speaking, it'll be very hard for him to leave Los Angeles now because, he's not just a basketball player at this point. He's also,
Business mogul.
businessman. He has lots of and most of those businesses are in Los Angeles. He's planted his foot there. He's planted his family there. Bronny plays in USC. I'm pretty sure Bryce is gonna play in a Southern Californian team school as well. So I think he won't want to leave LA unless things get really dire. Like if this season just crashes into more catastrophe, like an injury, which by the way, Jared Vanderbilt is going to be out for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And that's a big hit because the Lakers have been getting big wins these past few weeks, but the consistency still isn't there. So I'm hoping that they make a move, maybe not as drastic as LeBron. I'm not ready for. I'm not sure anyone is ready for a LeBron trade in the next 8 hours. I think that will break Twitter.
Yeah.
So they have to make a move for him to at least to convince LeBron to at least stay, for the next 2 years. Because if if LeBron leaves, Anthony Davis will also have second thoughts eventually, unless you're right, a Luka or a Trae Young or another star to pair with him. But that's gonna be quite a job once you lose LeBron. So I'm open to it. If he gets traded, then I'm indifferent to it. I just want compensation.
Right. So if it's too drastic of a move to trade LeBron, LA might look for some help along the fringes, right? So perhaps wings that can hit freeze in defense, such as a Dorian Finney-Smith, a Royce O'Neal.
Right. The Brooklyn team, the Brooklyn Nets have a lot of assets. They aren't really winning. I also mentioned to you, anyone not named LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller on the Hornets should be on the table. So they should call up any of those teams who are, in that weird space of mediocrity. Most of them are in the East. Instead of asking for DeJounte Murray if they're ready to trade for D'Angelo Russell, I think that scenario is done. I don't think that's gonna happen. So yeah, I want the Lakers to have a formidable team. I think they will. I don't at this point. I don't think they care again if what their seeding is. Last year they made it through the play-in. I don't think LeBron minds if they'll make it to the play-in again. I don't think that's important to them at this point because they've done it last season. So they just want to get in there, and their team, as they see it, isn't that good. So hopefully they get those fringe players like as you said, to make their roster more formidable.
All right. And perhaps, you know what? A better head coach is what they need as well.
Well, don't get me started on that.
All right. So rounding out the roster for the West All-Stars, we have Devin Booker, Stephen Curry's there, Anthony Davis, Ant Edwards, of course the LA wing duo of Paul George and Kawhi, and Kat. Other names that we might not have mentioned should be on the list, Mook, or any names that,
I think the two kings, the duo in Sacramento,
Domas and
De'Aaron Fox should have been there. I think Laurie Markkanen should have been an all-star.
Consideration, yes.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put him over Gobert or Towns.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him over Gobert. I wouldn't put him over Sabonis. But Sabonis is the one who should have been named an all-star. Outright.
Over Cat.
Over Cat. Over Gobert, over Cat. I think it should have been Sabonis. But, again, Sacramento's not really a big of a market. And they're the 5th seed. They're not really the 1st seed like Minnesota is. So they're in the fringe as well. So, the game's the game. Sabonis has been there before, so I'm pretty sure he's used to it. But it still sucks to have, a snub as glaring as Sabonis on the All-Star game.
All right, and you've heard it from us. So our sentiments about some of the names mentioned on both the East and West All-Star rosters. And we still have time, Mook, to give our quick picks.
Very, very, very quick.
Very quick picks for Super Bowl 58 happening on Monday, our time. Monday, our time. Yeah. So it is the rematch of the 2020 Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs versus my San Francisco 49ers. A lot has happened since 2020, but I am raring for this opportunity to get back at Patrick Mahomes. Simply put, my sentiments, Mook. San Francisco has, of this Kyle Shanahan here, the most complete roster. Offensive weaponry, head coaching, play calling genius. The defense, not really as stout as 2019 and 2020, but still formidable. But you're still going up one damn good Hall of Famer, Patrick Mahomes, and that's what scares me the most. I mean, you can play everything right, but when he has the ball, red zone, 2-minute drill, you're just hoping that you fluster him enough to make an error, but I don't know. It's still Patrick Mahomes.
That's why I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan. Lots of talk if he wins his third. Is he definitely going to be one of the greats? I think he is already one of the greats, so I think a third won't really make a case. It's really how many can he win? So I'm rooting for Mahomes. I'm also rooting for Andy Reid, who has shown finally how, coming together in Kansas City, like the culmination of his career. He deserves all the success he's getting. And honestly, Steve Spagnuolo's defense this season has been elite. One of the best defensive seasons for Kansas City during this Mahomes era. So I'll give it to the Chiefs. I can't wait. I can't wait for Super Bowl. I can't also wait for Usher. I'm a huge Usher fan. So I can't wait to watch the halftime show. But Brock Purdy is not Patrick Mahomes. That's what I'm gonna say. When it comes to Super Bowl, it's most of the time a quarterback's game to win or lose, and one team has Patrick Mahomes and the other team has Brock Purdy. That's
with everything you said, Mok, I hate to say it, but my 49ers are in for another war with the Kansas City Chiefs, but good thing that you're an Usher fan, because I do not want Swifties running the NFL anytime soon. Please. So that's my only reason for still rooting for my 49ers. And that does it for this episode of Radyo Katipunan Sports. Thank you again to Teo in the booth for organizing this broadcast. Thank you once again to my co-anchor Mookie B, and most of all, thank you to our listeners for tuning in and supporting Loyola Heights #1 sports radio show. Once again, this is Anthony saying goodbye, one big fight, and see you guys again soon. Super Bowl predictions. Mookie is still going with Kansas City. I'm a homer. I'm still going with San Francisco. But anyway, we'll be recapping that big game next week. Only here on Radyo Katipunan. Peace. See you.
Welcome to RK Sports, where we take you right into the action with the highlights, insights, and analysis of the sports scene in, around, across, and beyond the Ateneo. With your hosts, Anthony Perez and Mookie Borja. Katipunan. Game on.
Radyo Katipunan, 87.9